are getting a giant patch this week, you guys. There are changes coming to both Battlegrounds and Duels in patch 18.6.1, and it's coming out tomorrow. It's going to be live November 5th, which this team has done so many of these things now, I feel like, where they're just like, oh, by the way, tomorrow, the game changes.
Yeah, by the way, we're announcing this today, and tomorrow it's going live. You're like, whoa, this is sick. This
we
is
don't
awesome.
have to wait for anything in Hearthstone anymore, I feel like, except for, you know, getting Ginny deleted. But yeah.
Yeah, well, that's coming a little bit later. We'll talk about that one.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we've got a whole bunch of balance changes that are coming to those two modes, like I mentioned. So we're going to talk about Battlegrounds first, and there are so many changes coming. So we have 12 heroes getting buffed. We have a ton of minion changes. We've got elementals leaving the lobby. You're not going to be in every single one anymore, which I'm so excited about. And
I'll tell you who else is happy about that is Garrett for sure.
Yes.
Him and I have had a few angry talks on Discord about getting badly beaten by elementals every single game. So I'm stoked that it's gonna go back to fully rotating. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, and because we have that extra minion tribe now in elementals, it means that you're actually eliminating 2 tribes from every lobby instead of just 1 tribe. So I think when pirates were first introduced, people were like, oh, I still see pirates all the time. But it's like there's twice as much of a chance now in every lobby that elementals will be eliminated. So you won't see them nearly as often as you have been. And I'm ready for that change because, I understand that when they introduce new things, they want those new things to be powerful. But I think I got so burned by Demon Hunter that ruined my constructed life so much that then when elementals came into Battlegrounds, I was just like, no, I will not be playing this mode anymore.
They just seemed like, I mean, I was never like crazy big into Battlegrounds. I mean, I've gotten big into it the past like month or 2 or whatever, but this seems like the best tribe off the bat. Like, dragons were great, but elementals seem like they are unbeatable. Like, they win 99% of lobbies. Whereas, like, when dragons first came out, they were great, but they didn't always win lobbies. You know what I mean?
There was still some strategy and some play there instead of just like push them, force them, make sure you get them. Yeah. And I think the stats on HS Replay, and I don't have it right in front of me, but I know Garrett brought it up last week, was saying basically elementals win something like 60% of their lobbies or something like that. Like 60% of lobbies have an elemental banned in first place. Like that's 2. And the next closest was like 10%. I was like, wow, like they just are dominating. And obviously being in every lobby means that they just have a statistically higher chance of winning because every single lobby has an elemental chance versus any other tribe that's sometimes not in the lobby. But still, those stats are way too high. So I'm glad that we are seeing some not only changes to elemental minions, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but we're also seeing them leave every single lobby. So I'm looking forward to this change. And again, it goes live tomorrow, which is awesome. But yeah, like I mentioned, we did have 12 heroes get buffed. So the first one we're going to talk about is Queen Wagtoggle. And this is a pretty big deal, I think. So her hero power, Wax Warband, still going to cost you 1 gold. But you are going to give a friendly minion of each minion type instead of just +2 attack. Now it's +2 attack and +1 health. So I think that this is a really big buff on her. That's a lot of stats. Like, I think to the point that you're probably going to buy on turn 1 and then buy in hero power turn 2, like go pyramid style. Yeah,
that's a huge buff for sure. That's a light Fang, you know.
Yeah, well, light Fang I will talk about in a little bit, but
sure. This is essentially a light Fang for 1. Like, that's great. I personally love menagerie builds. I know they're not the best
I like
comps
them
right
too.
now, but
I think
I love them so much. When I see a light Fang, I just go so hard on menagerie. I'm like, all right, menagerie, sell this.
This is happening.
I'm gonna buy this vanilla 5/4 pirate just because I wanted to get buffed.
Yeah.
But
I feel like you're my spirit animal Battlegrounds player.
I love menagerie comps, and I think this is cool. And she was, you know, never picked. Like I never ever saw her in lobbies ever.
Yeah.
So
she had the lowest pick rate. I think she was under 1% picked. Like
really,
there were probably just some like Wagtoggle stands out there that were like, I'm gonna pick her no matter what. And it was like 3 dudes that were just like, yep,
she's let's do it.
Yep. But she was never legit hero.
Yeah, I think the health buff is significant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it's obviously the 2 attack was great, but you know, if your stuff still traded, then it didn't matter. But if the 1 health keeps it alive, then it is going to matter, you know? So I think the 2-1's cool. Like I was saying, it's a light Fang with a hero power. I think it's cool. I feel weird about heroes that force you to go a certain route, like heroes that force you to go dragons, or heroes that force you to go murlocs, or heroes
yeah,
exactly. And this forces you to go, forces you to go menagerie. So it's like, to get the most out of her hero power, obviously you don't have to go menagerie, but to get the most out of her hero power, you're going to want to go menagerie. So,
well, I think you can kind of go menagerie for the first little bit of the game, like the early to mid game, and then you can kind of see what you get, level up, and you're not going to lose a big chunk of health through the majority of the early to late game. Like you should be coming out of that, because you have this health buff now, you should be coming out of that probably around like 30 health, which is really good in the current meta, as long as you don't run into somebody who's like crazy high rolled and dealt 20 to 30 damage in one swing. Like you should make it out of that portion of the game in a really good position. And then you can kind of make a choice and say, okay, now I'm tier 5. What direction do I want to take? What's everybody else doing? You'll probably have 1 or 2 minions that have decent stats now because they've been buffed up while you've been menagerying, but you're not necessarily stuck there forever. You can kind of transition out of it late game when your hero power becomes less and less good anyways, because when you're dealing with things that have, you know, 60, 70, 80 health, then your +2 attack every turn isn't really doing anything anymore, right? So you can kind of transition away from having to be menagerie in the late game.
Sure. Yeah, I think this is going to help her early tempo so much, and this is going to help her survive those early mid turns, and then she can land on a comp in the late game. So yeah, that's cool. I think this is great. I don't know if it's going to make her, you know, tier 1 all of a sudden, but it's going to make her better than she was for sure.
Yeah, I think all of these changes across the board are not necessarily designed to make things overpowered. They're in some cases bringing them back to where they were when they first launched, and the hero pool was smaller, and the tribal pool was smaller as well. So they're kind of meant to shore them up as opposed to make them just overpowered again, right? So they're just trying to bring them in line so that it doesn't feel quite as bad if you're offered, since again, the pool is so big, your chances of being offered 4 heroes that aren't top tier just keeps increasing and increasing and increasing as they add more and more heroes. So I think they're just trying to shore up that bad roll of 4 heroes as opposed to make anything like really overpowered and the go-to pick. And I think that Queen Wagtoggle is probably the best change out of all of them in terms of like the power spike that she's going to get. From kind of like where she was to where I think she is now. Like she's definitely gone from like dead last up to probably like mid to high tier now. And I mean, there's still going to be heroes that just are better. Like Lich King didn't get any worse. Like Rag didn't get any worse.
Yeah.
But you know, she's pickable now. And I think that's what a lot of these changes were, is just like, let's make these heroes pickable. I say that, and now we're going to talk about George the Fallen, which this seems crazy to me. So George the Fallen, his Boon of Light hero power, when he originally was launched, was 4, I keep saying mana, I think, but 4 gold. And it was reduced down to 3 gold. His hero power now has been reduced down to 2 gold. So it's half as expensive as it was when it first came out. And 2 gold to give a friendly minion, again, still targeted. So just to give a friendly minion Divine Shield. Man, this is so powerful.
Yeah, it's so good. He was good at 3.
Yeah,
I thought.
He was good at
every
3.
time I saw George in a lobby, like just being able to give stuff Divine Shield alone lets you carry yourself through like so much. Like I never saw George like first, second, third out. Like I always saw him like mid game or winning a lobby. If there were murlocs, you could just give poison and divine shield, and you win. But
yeah, divine shield Murlocs are back, you guys. Spoiler alert. It's when George and Murlocs are in the same lobby.
For real. No, I think this change is gonna make him a very, very good hero. I think of all these changes, this is the one that is gonna be the most significant. I think personally, I think just having targeted divine shield is amazing, because you have the selfless hero. That was such an important card. They had to move up from tier 1 to tier 2, and like I feel like a lot of winning strategies have that, and give their stuff divine shield to let it attack twice or survive or whatever, and being able to give what you want when you have the gold to do it is really good. Even a 3 out was good.
It means that you kind of you don't need to worry about like getting Nadina with dragons. You don't need to worry about taking up space on your board with, like you said, selfless hero and maybe even possibly a Baron. Like you can just spend some gold over a few turns and your stuff just gets these effects without having to take up those board spaces. So I think, he was a good hero. Like you say, I think he was good at 3. I think he's great at 2. And I expect to see a lot more Georges in lobbies because, this is a really good hero power. And
yeah, absolutely.
One hero that like never got played, but I think I might actually give him a shot now is Galakrond. So Galakrond is getting, again, he's getting nerf buff nerfed. So Galakrond's greed is now going to be free, which is a pretty big deal. And so that hero power is 0 gold and replaces a minion in Bob's Tavern with one from a higher tavern tier. And this is where the nerf part comes in, doesn't freeze it. So this is a thing that you're going to want to do when you still have gold to buy things. Because it doesn't get stuck there. You would have to freeze the entire tavern, right? So then before you would just have the one frozen minion and everything else in the tavern would refresh. But now you have to freeze that whole tavern, which is, never necessarily as good.
Sure. I think I've only won once or twice with the Galakrond, and how I won was I just froze from the get-go, and then I eventually got a 6 cost minion way earlier than I should have, and they carried me.
That was so you just kept like using your hero power on the same one.
And then I got like I don't remember what I got, Mama Bear, a Malgadon, or something crazy, and I just went from there, and that's how I won.
Which that strategy is going to be easier now because it's free, right? So you don't have to weave this into your economy. It just means you're going to have to freeze your entire tavern, right? So then I guess you'd end up with a tavern tier 6 minion and a whole bunch of 1-drops.
Well, it is called Galakrond's greed a reason, because you're being greedy. You're trying to make things work that shouldn't be working. You're getting kind of greedy. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it won't. But I think it's cool. It's a cool change. Again, doesn't make him necessarily better or worse. I still feel the same. I'm picking Galakrond, so cool.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give him a try. He's probably one of my least picked heroes. I only have a few games under my belt with him because he's been kind of historically bad throughout. So I think this makes him more interesting, again, because you don't have to compromise your economy for him now. So I think I'm gonna try being greedy. And then Tess, this is a really cool change, I think. So this is almost like making Tess's hero power seems like how I thought it always worked or always should work, just logically when reading her old hero power. So her old hero power costs 1 gold. It's still going to cost 1 gold. Was refresh Bob's Tavern with minions from your last opponent's warband. Now reads refresh Bob's Tavern with your last opponent's warband, which means when you hit your hero power, it's going to replace what's in your tavern with the 7 minions that were on your opponent's side of the board, or less depending on, but it's going to basically replace the tavern with what you faced the last round. So you're going to get, instead of like each minion in the tavern kind of rolling to have a chance to be one of the things that you saw, it's like, no, this just will be what your opponent had. You'll get all those minions offered. So this is really good now.
Oh, weird. I've played Tess a few times, not enough to know. So she never just straight up gave you your opponent's warband. I guess because you were limited to how many minions you got,
you were limited
right?
by your tavern tier. So that limit's going away now. So you'll get assuming your opponent has a full warband, you'll get those 7 offerings of whatever it was. So like including like if they had the alley cat, you'll get the 2 1/1s, so
sure.
don't buy the token because why would you? But like
cool.
You'll actually see that stuff.
I'm gonna steal me some amalgams then. That's my plan. Yeah. So some 1-2 amalgams.
And so the one thing that I'm not 100% clear on, and I'm gonna have to again, this isn't playable until tomorrow, November 5th. So obviously we haven't had a chance to get hands on yet because I do want to try this because what I'm curious about is when you refresh Bob's Tavern with your last opponent's warband, do you get all the crazy buffs? Like if they have a like 5,800 Gar or whatever, can I buy that buffed or do I just get the 5-1?
No, I think it would just be the vanilla one. If it
I would think so too, but if it had the enchantment,
like if it had all the buffs and stuff, that would be crazy. That would be crazy.
That would be way too powerful, right? Because it's 1 mana. You can do it every turn for every single opponent you face. Like,
she would just be the best. Everyone else does all the hard work, and then you push refresh 1 time, and then you're like, all right, there's this guy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure it's just vanilla minions, but either way,
that's Bigglesworth. That's how Bigglesworth works, but he only gets to do it, 6 times in a game, right? So max.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that would be way too powerful. There's no way it keeps buffs.
Oh, cool. I'm gonna play Tess more now. Now when I get offered her, I'm gonna play her a lot more for sure.
Yeah, I think she's always been kind of interesting, but just never that powerful. And again, I think having the choice of everything and not taking chances on what you're gonna get as part of your tavern, I think this is really powerful now. So yeah, I'll probably be playing more of Tess as well. So that's it for hero changes. In terms of minion updates, we've already mentioned that elementals are not going to be a minion type in every lobby anymore. Obviously, they're still going to exist in lobbies, just they're going to rotate like every other minion tribe. So there's going to be 2 minion tribes still eliminated from every lobby. So hopefully we never see elementals again. And then so minion change wise is Wrathweaver. So we alluded to this one earlier, was 1/1 is now a 1/3. So going to stick around a whole lot longer. This is a huge change.
Yeah, this is great because you never wanted just a 1/1 on turn 1. Like you were going to lose every fight pretty much no matter what.
Yeah, even against tokens, like even against all, like there was nothing that you beat as a 1/1.
Yeah, so you're
except another Wrathweaver, then you tie.
So you're taking damage on turn 1, you level, you're taking damage on turn 2, you get a demon, you're taking damage from that on turn 3. So
and then
you're just
hoping maybe you win with your 3/3 Wrathweaver and your 1 demon, whatever that is. So
yeah, you're so
you
done,
were just behind. Yeah,
this is an excellent change. I think he was never ever a first choice of anybody. Like I would take any other tier 1 minion over him, like pretty much exclusively.
Even if I thought that maybe eventually I might want to go that way and go down a demon Wrathweaver road, like it was just never the one that you necessarily took on turn 1 unless you were prepared to just take a whole bunch of damage and you had some sort of hero power that could take advantage and kind of force you forward. But yeah, generally Wrathweaver was not the go-to on turn 1. And so speaking of go-tos, one thing that kind of is a go-to on tier 3 is the Yo-Ho Ogre, which is being bumped down to tier 2. Also getting a little bit of a health nerf. So it's going to be a 2/5 instead of a 2/8, but otherwise behaves exactly the same. And now coming to you a tavern tier earlier, which also means there's going to be more in the pool. So this is a really big change. Yeah.
Going from 3 to 2 is gigantic. Like you said, there's going to be a lot more offered. And I don't know the stats, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure pirates were the worst tribe, like for a while. Like they've been one of the worst tribes.
I think demons are still worse.
Oh, really?
I think. But yeah, pirates are definitely down there. They were really good when they launched, and they've just like elementals just destroy them, right? So
elementals just crap on every tribe. Yeah. You're not elementals, you're gonna lose the lobby. Like, come on. No, but him being a tier 2 minion, like yeah, it got nerfed with the stats a little bit, but you know, a 2/5 on turn 3 is really good. Like taunt, like that's only gonna grow, and like there's so much pirate synergy with, you know, attacking and all that kind of stuff,
and buffing and all the rest of it. Yeah, I think it can get bigger pretty quickly. So yeah, I think this is a really good change. I think it was a good minion anyways, and even with the 3 health loss, I think just getting it so much earlier, you're probably going to end up with that health back pretty quickly. We got a change to Light Fang Enforcer again, like we were kind of alluding to earlier on. Still a tier 5 minion, but back to its original iteration where it's giving a friendly minion of each minion type +2/+2 instead of +2/+1. So it got put back to its original iteration. And yeah, I mean, but again, I know we're both fans of menagerie builds, so this is a good change. I'm stoked.
Absolutely.
Still a tier 5 minion though, which is a little bit late, but triple into this.
I think they nerfed it initially because at the time menagerie builds were so good.
Yeah.
And now that menagerie builds have fallen off, like giving it +1 more health each turn is significant. Like,
well, it's because the amalgam dude that wasn't the curator one, but was the one that was just built into the game in the earlier tier. With that in the game, Light Fang was just ridiculous.
Yeah, it was busted.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But I think it's a whole lot less busted now. Again, we just talked about giving a friendly mech +2/+2 with the Iron Sensei. Like +2/+2, although it's split over hopefully 5 or 6 minions. Or I guess maximum 5 minions, because there's 5 tribes in each
only 5 tribes,
lobby. Yeah. But so you're getting up to potentially 10/10 stats, so it should come a little bit later in the game. But yeah, I think this is good. You need the health in the late game. Without the health buff, like, yeah, you're pretty much toast. So that is it for Battlegrounds changes. That was that was a lot of stuff, but much needed.
A big patch, and literally like you were saying, like it comes out tomorrow. Well, depending when you hear this, but tomorrow, November 5th, like that's gigantic for them to announce these nerfs and then be like, all right, you guys don't have to wait. It's coming tomorrow.
You can subscribe to The Angry Chicken on all your favorite podcast apps like Spotify, Google Play, and iTunes. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss another Angry Chicken video.